Hello everybody, Wild Bill for America here. Thank you for watching. You know, patriots in the United States and our friends in England are both fighting to save our nations from being conquered by the barbarians of Islam, a political force that has a long history of destroying nations, people, and cultures. Now, the battle has not yet risen to the level of open warfare in the streets, but unless the barbarians are soundly defeated politically, Islam will bring war to our streets just as it has in many other nations. The most effective we have is our freedom to speak out publicly about the threats that we're facing. And because freedom of speech is so effective, the enemies will vigorously attack that right in order to silence us. The war against free speech has begun, and this week it is in Dearborn, Michigan. Terry Jones, a pastor who ministered to Muslims in Germany for 30 years, has taken a strong stand against barbaric Islam by burning a Quran. He has committed no crime and he has harmed no person, and his actions are fully protected under the Free Speech Clause of the U.S. Constitution. But the enemies of freedom have targeted Pastor Jones and are determined to strip him of his First Amendment right to speak. Now, Jones has taken his battle to Dearborn, Michigan, a hotbed of Islamic domination in America that is well known for persecuting Christians and anyone else who speaks against Islam. Jones planned to hold a protest, but he was told by the Dearborn city government that he's not allowed to protest unless he first purchases a permit. Pastor Jones, being a law-abiding man, applied for the permit, and of course, it was denied. City spokeswoman Mary Landroche said that Jones's permit had been denied for public safety reasons. In other words, they're afraid Muslims will riot because that's what they do. And so the United States Constitution must be denied. Well, sorry, Mary, that's not how it works in America. Here's what the Supreme Court says. At a minimum, a prior restraint will be found unconstitutional when such a scheme places unbridled discretion in the hands of a government official to grant or deny the permit. PBS versus Dallas, 1990. And the court went on to say, and I quote, "Restricting picketing or demonstrating based on the content of the speech constitutes censorship in a most odious form." The Supreme Court has ruled over and over again that the government may not suppress free speech by requiring citizens to obtain a permit prior to exercising their right to speak. We don't need permission from anybody to exercise our rights. And as for the fears that the Jones demonstration may result in a Muslim riot, here's what the Supreme Court said in Tinker versus Des Moines, 1969. Quote, "The First Amendment was meant to permit disputatious speech, speech that may start an argument or cause a disturbance." And then in the case of United Food versus IBP Incorporated, the Supreme Court said this: "Picketing and demonstrating often create confrontation of opposing views. However, even hostile audience reactions cannot justify the suppression of speech." It doesn't get any clearer than that. Now, prior to denying Jones his permit, the Dearborn city government required Jones to put up a bond making him responsible for damages that might be caused if a riot ensued. Now, that's wrong for two reasons. First of all, shouldn't the ones doing the damage be the ones to pay for it? And secondly, because it is illegal for the city to attempt to suppress Jones's First Amendment rights by placing an undue financial burden upon him. Here's what the federal court said about that. In Collin versus Smith, 1978, the government of Skokie, Illinois, required a demonstrating group to purchase $300,000 in liability insurance and $50,000 in property damage insurance. The court ruled that these requirements were unconstitutional because the activity involved free speech. Now, there is no excuse for police departments and city governments to be so ignorant of the law. Every police officer in the Dearborn Police Department is supposed to have taken an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. Has Sharia law eliminated the traditional oath of office? I'd like to know. The first and most important battle for freedom will be the battle over free speech. The law is crystal clear, and any police department or government agency that illegally suppresses our constitutional rights must pay a heavy penalty. Now, I'm not big on lawsuits because I believe they are very much overused in this country, but in this case, there is no other way to educate our government officials. Political correctness is the enemy of freedom, and politically correct bureaucrats will never stop suppressing free speech until they start facing heavy fines and penalties for their illegal actions. Islamic law, Sharia, cannot, must not, and will not have its way over free speech. That is worth fighting for. It is worth dying for. This is Wild Bill for America, speaking for freedom. And God bless America again.